G'day one, Be Agent Dad here. Today we're going to do the draw, which is for my giveaway to celebrate my 500 subscriber milestone, and the prize for this is this Dell DA200. Now this DA200, I've actually done a video before, but what it is pretty much a converter which actually converts HDMI display port and add an extra USB 3.1, which is USB-A, and also Ethernet, and all that converts to a USB-C type, which is fantastic, and it works pretty much for Windows computers and Macs as well. So this is a great, absolute great hardware. Now this hardware you can also, which I use a lot often, is to actually connect this to docks as well to try and make them work, especially for the Macs anyway, to actually make this work with docks, adding more for the USB-Cs, which the Macs actually do require. Now, I've actually written all these names down from my previous videos. I've got 20 contestants in this, so I've actually written them down on paper. I am kind of old style, and I'm still using the old style where I'm just drawing out a box or hat, and I've actually written them down and I've folded them up so you guys can do. And pretty much I'm going to put them in this box here. Now, hopefully, as I get more giveaways and stuff like that, I will hopefully find a different method to do this. So definitely, I just going to need to work a better method to do this when I get more subscribers, especially when I'm going to do my 1,000 subscriber milestone anyway. So if you know other methods for giveaways that actually can handle much bigger contestant list than this, at the moment I've got 20, but my first video was only about 4, so that was actually a lot easier to handle. But I know definitely when it comes down to later on, when my subscriber list is much higher, and also I've got my giveaways, got a lot more people contesting it, I'd love to actually hear how to do it more efficiently. So definitely put a comment below there. Anyway, before I actually do draw it, I like to apologize. I'm never good at pronouncing stuff, so if I pronounce your name wrong for the winner, I beg your forgiveness advance, okay? So anyway, let's get this all going. I'll just give this a nice good mix. I'm not meant to see what I'm going to draw out anyway. Okay, here we go. Let's go for it. Let's give it a nice good mix, and I've got one here. So, who have we got here? Now, I've got David Fernandez, I think it is. So, David Fernandez, I'm going to try and put a comment below so you can actually contact me by email. So, definitely, congratulations, David there. So, definitely, you're the winner of this DA200. It's a fantastic adapter. Now, while I got you guys there, I like to actually bring up another little talk feature I'd like to bring up. It's actually a surprise move that Apple actually released the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Now, I've been waiting for this rumored for a while, and I actually been waiting for this to actually be released. I was expecting it to be released probably in September, but it never did come out, so it was a bit of a disappointment there. And they just pretty much just brought it out secretly. So that was a bit of a surprise move from Apple there. Now, what they actually did put in was they finally did something to the keyboard. Yes, that keyboard was atrocious. So I have not got my hands on this new 16-inch MacBook Pro, but I do know they've supposedly said they've got double the travel depth of each key. So that's definitely good to hear that they're starting to acknowledge that there's something wrong finally with that keyboard anyway. For anything else, I think it's just a spec bump up. I know it's gone to 16-inch. I know it's gone a little bit thicker, but again, 4 Thunderbolt ports. They refuse to put any other legacy ports in there, and from what I was watching some of the other videos, the SD card probably won't be put in there and much as we want to. So it's a bit of a shame there for port wise. So I guess we're stuck with 4 Thunderbolts on those MacBook Pros anyway. The other thing they actually did improve, of course, is it's mostly to do with the CPU as well as especially the graphics card. Now, what was a bit of a surprise move was actually keeping the price a little bit down than what we were expecting to be brought up anyway. So again, it's still very expensive hardware there. I have not tested out this computer out, but from reading what other people have done on other videos from all over YouTube at the moment for it, it's doing extremely well. Now, I am an Adobe user. I'm not a Final Cut user. I saw a lot of videos about Final Cuts, and there's massive, like anywhere between 65 to 80% improvements on Final Cut, but like I said, I'm not a Final Cut user. I love to hear what the actual performance difference for, especially with the graphics rendering there for Adobe Suite there. So definitely I can't wait to hear that. I am going to try and get a 16-inch MacBook Pro from my suppliers to see if I can actually do a review on that myself. The other thing they've actually did was to actually increase much better speakers there. For me, the actual benchmark for good sound at the moment is still the X1 Carbon 7th generation, simply because that was a fantastic sound. So I love to hear what this 16-inch MacBook Pro speaker setup system is, because they've got subwoofers they said they've got in there. So the normal 2017 to 2019, the speakers on them were fantastic still. I actually really enjoyed them, but definitely love to see what this 16-inch speaker system is. Now they also have, they've increased the way better microphone there on the MacBook Pro for the 16-inch. I've heard some things and I'm pretty impressed by myself as well for the built-in microphone. But I'm not probably a major user of it. I do use it for video conferencing and stuff like that, but I don't very rarely I will actually record directly from the built-in mic anyway. I will usually have a mic, external mic for that. So definitely one of the good improvements there. As for would I get one? Now this is a bit of an interesting one. I myself have kind of given up on Apple. I need to see much more improvement still from them, from especially what I actually want to bring your attention to is actually, I do follow another fantastic tech out there. His name is Lewis Rosman, and he pretty much repairs a lot of computers and mostly Macs. Now, watching some of the videos, it gives me question to see what Apple designs for their laptops is, and it's just amazing on some of the, let's see, questionable designs that Apple has created on some of their products there. And he is fighting for a much more serviceable for most manufacturers there, especially trying to get Apple to try and push that way as well too. So definitely, I am a big strong believer of serviceability. I want to see less throwing out for sustainability, and so we can actually fix much more of our hardware rather than having to constantly buy new computers there all the time. So definitely, and what I'm hearing from the new Macs there, I'm hoping they actually make this a little bit more serviceable. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but I hope they do, rather than us always constantly saying. Now, the Apple service in Australia has been, it's pretty average. I wouldn't say it's great, and I wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't say it's bad neither, but I'm hearing some horror stories for the US there. Now, I'd love to hear comments for what your service is in your country for Apple. I'd love to hear what they are, and what if you're an Apple user, would you continue to think about getting the 16-inch MacBook Pro? For myself, it's probably not something I'm actually looking at, just simply because I'm also interested in something I want to bring out another attention to that's bringing up a lot of news, and that's AMD. Now, I am a very old time user of AMD now. I've actually been in computers for a long time, so I've had a 286, 386, 486, Pentium 7 T5, Pentium 90. I have also, then after that, I actually went to AMD. Now, AMD, I actually had the very first Athlon, and that wasn't even socket based. It was actually slot based. So I actually had that, and that's because I was playing games back then, and it was just blowing things out of the mind. So before Intel was gonna, so was Team Blue, and then I went to Team Green. Now, I know people call it Team Red, but for me, traditionally, they were always green for me. The logo's been green all the time through. So I actually went from Athlon, I think it was called Athlon 7, I can't remember what it was called. It's been so long ago. Then I went to the Athlon XP, and I loved that machine for gaming, so I was blowing things around. And then after that, unfortunately, they were just a bit lacking behind down there. And so that's when I jumped back to Intel there, so Team Blue again. And then I stayed with them for a while because quite simply AMD weren't doing very well. And then a few years back, when I was looking for a new computer to replace my MacBook Pro because it was just starting to lose confidence in Apple, I actually went back to AMD. So my desktop computer, which I actually end up using for video editing, is actually the very first generation of Ryzen, and it's been a fantastic CPU. I love it to death, and I've been actually asking people to try and keep keep that in mind for when they're looking at building computers and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they're starting to grow in the market now. They're starting to see a few laptops that actually have Ryzen CPUs there. So I love them. They just do beautiful performance, and at the last 6 months, they're actually beating Intel there. So fantastic work at AMD. So I am really happy to see that there's actually competition there. It means that Team Blue, they need to pick up their game again, because they've been pretty static there. So definitely, I love seeing this competition there. Just like how I see competition with Microsoft with Apple at the moment. They're great that they see there's actually competition, because that brings a lot more innovation and a lot more bringing our prices down, so we don't get an annoying monopoly. But definitely, I'd love to hear what you think about that. I'd still like to see AMD CPU in a Mac. That would be very fantastic to see, if we can actually even get. Imagine having a Threadripper in a MacBook Pro. That would be fantastic there. Definitely, especially the new Threadrippers. They're amazing. See how many cores they have got in there, rather than have to actually go with the Xeon. But definitely, I love to see AMD chip in a MacBook. So definitely one thing to see, and I'd love to hear what your comments are. Anyway, till the next video. And also, congratulations again to David Fernandez. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, till next time, and just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. I'll see you in the next video.